The Senate recently approved the coronavirus relief package that's going to provide some help to rural America. Jordan Dux is here. He is the Director for National Affairs with Nebraska Farm Bureau. And Jordan, you're going to get into and explain what is included in this bill and what's good for ag. So maybe I'll just let you get right into it. Tell me a little bit about what was passed with this aid relief package.
Absolutely. So the $2.2 trillion, that's trillion with a T, $1 trillion package was approved on Wednesday night by a 96-0 vote. The 4 no votes, remember there's 100 folks in the Senate, those 4 votes that did not vote are senators that are under quarantine right now due to contact with Senator Rand Paul, who tested positive for COVID-19 earlier this week. But a landmark piece of legislation, something that has never been passed that is this large, provides money for an awful lot of pieces of the U.S. economy that is really frankly shut down, and the world economy shut down because of the COVID-19 pandemic. From an ag standpoint, there's about $14 billion in there to replenish the Commodity Credit Corporation, the CCC, which is the account and basically the bank account that USDA used to pay out MFP program payments last year, the trade aid payments. So that program has a cap of $30 billion. We only replenished it to 14. The initial request was much higher, but certainly through negotiations, this is kind of where we're at right now. On top of the $14 billion, which will most likely be used as for direct assistance to producers, $9.5 billion was also added at the discretion of Secretary Perdue for livestock, specialty crops, local food systems, and dairy producers. So those two combined together, we're sitting at about $23.5 billion included in the bill that will most likely be targeted directly to farmers and ranchers across the country. We'll need to see what that program looks like when that money comes to be. We certainly don't know yet, and a lot of that will still be up to USDA to determine what that looks like. The other thing I think that's important to note that we get a lot of questions on, and we'll probably get a lot of questions on, are the individual pieces, because the big one that you're going to hear from national news is the checks to individuals. And so frankly, where we're at there is that it's about each person in the country is going to receive a $1,200 check on an individual making up to $75,000 a year in income, $2,400 for a couple earning less than $150,000. And after that, the check is scaled down until you basically hit $99,000 worth of income. And then it's $99,000 for an individual, $198,000 for a couple. And then the check is phased out altogether. On top of that $1,200 per person, if you qualify, there's also an additional $500 per child benefit that is included in that. So on top of that, there's an unemployment benefit boost, and there's certainly large pools of money, a $500 billion corporate liquidity fund to try to help companies access credit at this particular point in time. There's $100 billion in there for hospitals. There's also money in there, a specific account targeted to small businesses and being able to qualify for that. So some folks who maybe have ag-related industry that is more so set up like a small business where you have employees and things are a little different than just a typical farmer and rancher, that may be an opportunity to receive some assistance on that front as well. There's also a host of tax provisions that are included in this piece of legislation, from a delayed payment of employer payroll taxes, tax credits for employee retention, and waivers for retirement fund withdrawals. There's just an awful lot in here for folks, and so we're going to be posting, and we'll have as much detail as we can up on the Newswire story that we have written about this. But certainly be paying attention. We'll have as much detail on a handout as best we can. But certainly we live in unprecedented times, and this is an unprecedented bill in terms of its size and scope and everything that it touches. So really a complex piece of legislation that we're going to have to see, one of those things where we're going to probably learn a lot more about it day by day as we go into here. The Senate passed it, as I said, on Wednesday night. The House is expected to take up the bill on Friday, today, when you all will receive this. And so it is hopeful the bill passes at that time. We certainly thank Senator Fisher, Senator Sass for their support of the legislation. Depending upon certainly how long this whole situation lasts, we may be looking, this is the third round of COVID-19 aid packages. We may be looking at a fourth round as well, or we'll see what happens moving forward. But this is at least, I think, a first large bit of it, and we'll need to see what happens moving forward if agriculture maybe needs to go back with another ask. But we will certainly keep you all posted. We'll certainly keep the congressional delegation posted by letting them know what the economic situation is for agriculture.
That's great, Jordan. And one last question. I know the House has yet to vote on this bill, but what's the timeline that you're seeing for this to come through and maybe some of these programs to be put in place?
It's a good question, and unfortunately, I don't have a very good direct answer because we don't know. Every indication is that they want to get this money rolled out quickly. The individual payments to people, or even the commodity payments that would be coming, they want to roll this out as quickly as they can to make an impact. Folks are unemployed today. The unemployment numbers that came out this morning, Thursday morning, showed 3.3 million people unemployed at this point in time, the largest unemployment claim in U.S. history, and it just spiked like a rocket, just given the economy being shut down. So they're going to want to try to roll this money out as absolutely quickly as possible, but I don't know what that timeline looks like. But they're going to have to move quickly for it to really make a significant impact for people.
All right, thanks, Jordan. That's Jordan Dux, our Director of National Affairs. And like he mentioned, more details on this bill will be in the March 27th edition of Newswire. You can look in Policy Watch. You can also find it within the Newswire section on our website, www.nefb.org. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.